Lush, and I'm here inside the Hub Culture Studio in Davos. Really pleased that Ben Wedge has passed through my door. Thanks for coming through.
Yeah, thanks for the invite, Edie.
So you're the president of Feats, and you are a bicycle consultant. Now, I think that's very cool. It's a sign of the times that bikes are worthy of a consultant. Tell me what you've done to become that.
Yeah, sure. So just even on the consulting front, it's amazing when you walk around a city. I'm seeing this in Europe, but which was a bit surprising, but in North America especially, any metal post seems to be a bike rack in the minds of the people that build real estate. And the goal of this company was to provide really good insights and support so that when they're spending the money, really that metal pipe, if you lay it out differently, same cost, much better outcomes. But that's really the vision behind the company. But it started out a few years ago writing a report called On Track for 2020. And that was a vision from the Halifax Cycling Coalition to propose a complete network of protected bicycle lanes across the city. A nice grid where you could get from anywhere to anywhere by bike safely, people from 8 years old to 80 years old, just comfortable and all that. And that really changed the conversation in Atlantic Canada and really spurred some discussions across North America around how activists could really write the business case and advance these sustainable transportation solutions. And that was about 3 years ago, and last month Halifax City Council made a kind of watered down version of that, but the essence of it, official city policy.
So what do you estimate that this will have in terms of difference to people's health, people's well-being, the levels of CO2 emission?
Yeah, we never really calculated out the specifics on that plan, but what we know is that cycling leads to healthier employees. They get about 2 or 3 fewer sick days per year, so that's great for employers. They take fewer pharmaceuticals. They tend to arrive less stressed at work, so less burden on the mental health system as well. That's another clear insight that we've seen. So there's clear benefits to employers in terms of their benefits plans. There's clear impacts to governments, at least in the countries that have socialized healthcare, like Canada and much of Europe has different models of that. So clear benefits on the healthcare system side, savings to the end user, savings to the landlords who are installing bicycle end-of-trip facilities like showers and lockers, because they take up less space than driving, which means that parking garage can be repurposed to be leasable area that actually generates revenue for the company. So really, there's nobody that loses out when we invest in biking.
Where have you gone from there? Because I know you've done some work in other bits of sustainable transportation.
Yeah, so I took some of the same strategies that I helped the Cycling Coalition develop. So that's really good strategy, really good vision, and kind of being disciplined in chasing that strategy. And I've helped a couple organizations. So I'm now currently supporting one called It's More Than Buses, which is a transit advocacy group in Halifax, to really go through that same process to get that research, get that vision, and sell it to both the public and city council so that people understand what good transit looks like, and they'll make many of the same shifts that we just discussed about cycling. There's still health and financial benefits to everyone, but of course on transit there's a lot of upfront investment that the public sector needs to make in order to trigger all these savings for everyone, including the public sector, that come down the line.
So now this is going to be a real probably an easy question for you, but it's sort of in my mind, it's got to snow a lot in Halifax, right?
It does.
So what happens to those bikes in the middle of winter?
So we don't really know in a Halifax perspective. Across North America, no one is really doing proper winter maintenance for bicycles. Montreal has started this year. Edmonton and Calgary, Minneapolis is another good example. But what we do know in places like Oulu, Finland, they lose about 60% of their cyclists in the winter. It's really the snow, fresh snow, that creates the problem. The cold, you just bundle up. But with that fresh snow, it can be a little tricky for some people, especially if you're operating in mixed traffic with cars, because it's the kind of compressed snow that makes the issue, not the light stuff. But the key there is to have really great public transit backing it up. So maybe you take some transit vehicles off the roads in the summer because your loads go down, and then you let your transit operators take their summer vacations too, and then in the winter you're running maybe a few more vehicles, shorter headways, something to recognize that people are going to make that shift from walking and biking into transit. The last thing we want is for them to be driving, creating congestion, and losing all those great benefits we spoke about.
Ben, thank you very much for stopping through. I'm married to a very keen cyclist, so I know where you're coming from. Thanks very much for stopping into my studio here in Davos, and I'm Edie Lush. Bye.